Welcome to the Explainer. Okay, so if you're building a health app or a wearable, there's one question that can literally make or break your entire company. Is this thing a fun wellness gadget, or is it a regulated medical device? Today, we are going to decode the FDA's rulebook to help you figure that out.
I mean, look at that number. The health and wellness market is absolutely exploding. We're talking over $650 billion. And when a market is moving that fast, it is so easy for innovators to just accidentally trip over a very important and very expensive regulatory line.
And really, this is the multi-billion-dollar question, isn't it? You've poured your heart and soul into this thing, but if you get the answer wrong, well, that's not just a small setback. We're talking warning letters from the FDA, mandatory product recalls, even crippling legal fees. So yeah, understanding these rules, it's not just optional, it's about survival.
So to really get where we are today, you kind of have to see how we got here. It all started way back in 1976 with this super broad, catch-all definition that could have labeled a simple pedometer as a medical device. It was a lot. Realizing this was just stifling innovation, Congress finally stepped in with the 21st Century Cures Act in 2016. And that move paved the way for the 2019 guidance, which created what the FDA calls a safe harbor, basically a protected space for low-risk wellness products to innovate freely.
Okay, so how does the FDA actually build this safe harbor? Well, it all boils down to a really simple but incredibly powerful two-factor test. This is the absolute foundation of their whole wellness policy. If you get this, you get the core of everything we're going to talk about.
And here they are. It's just two things. First, what are you telling people your product does? The FDA calls that its intended use. And second, could your product actually physically harm someone? That's the risk profile. Now here's the kicker. You have to pass both of these tests, not one or the other, both.
All right, let's dig into that first factor, intended use, because honestly, this is where most companies get tripped up. The specific words you pick for your marketing, for your website, in your app, they are absolutely critical. They literally determine which regulatory road you're heading down.
So the FDA basically gives you two lanes to drive in. Lane 1, on the left, is the safe, easy route. You're just talking about general health, right? Improving fitness, managing stress, sleeping better. You never even whisper the name of a specific disease. But lane 2, on the right, that one's a bit of a tightrope. You can mention a disease, say type 2 diabetes, but, and this is a huge but, it can only be in the very specific context of helping someone live a healthy lifestyle with.
And this makes it super concrete. Just look at the difference in the language. Saying your app helps to manage stress is a totally fine wellness claim. But the moment you say it treats an anxiety disorder, you've crossed the line. Why? Because an anxiety disorder is a clinical diagnosis. It's the exact same thing with sleep. Promote sleep is fine. Diagnosis sleep apnea is a big no-no. The words you choose are, quite literally, everything.
Okay, let's move on to the second factor. Let's say you've got your marketing language perfect. You're still not done. Your product can get bounced into the medical device category if the tech itself is considered high risk. So what does the FDA actually mean by low risk? It's pretty simple. It just means they trust that your product is safe enough for people to use without the agency having to check your work first. And to make it totally clear, they've laid out a list of technologies that are automatically considered high risk, no matter how great your marketing claims are.
These right here are the non-negotiables. If you have to answer yes to any of these questions, your product is not low risk and it's not a wellness product, period. Invasive means anything that pierces the skin, even a teeny tiny microneedle. Implanted is, well, it's implanted. And things like lasers, certain types of radiation, or zapping the brain with neurostimulation, those all carry risks that mean the FDA needs to be involved.
Now, listen up, because for anyone building a wearable, this is probably the single most important thing you'll hear today. The FDA is shouting this from the rooftops. It is not what you measure, it is how you measure it. Think about it this way. A sensor that uses light to guess your blood glucose from your skin could be a wellness product. But a sensor that uses a tiny invasive needle to measure that same exact thing, that's a medical device. The how is the deciding factor.
All right, so we've got the two big pieces of the puzzle, your claims and your tech. Now let's put it all together. The FDA actually gave everyone a simple decision tree, a checklist you can use to see where your own product lands.
You can literally walk your product through this. Start at step 1. Are you only talking about general wellness? If the answer is yes, fantastic. You get to skip right ahead to the risk check in step 3. If you do mention a disease, that's okay. But now you have to pass the phrasing test in step 2. If you pass that, you land at the final boss, step 3. Is your tech low risk? If the answer is yes, bam, you're a general wellness product. You've made it into the safe harbor.
So, your product qualifies. That's awesome. Congratulations. But you're not totally out of the woods. You still have to be really careful about how you present information to your users so you don't accidentally make what's called an implied medical claim.
This is so critical for your user interface and your labels. First, just avoid buzzwords like medical grade or clinical accuracy. They just scream medical device to regulators. And here's the big one. Don't diagnose for your user. Turning a number red and slapping a high label on it isn't just showing data, it's an interpretation. It's you acting like a doctor. Instead, just present the data neutrally, and always have a clear disclaimer that says this is not for medical use.
The reality is, a lot of the most exciting innovation happens right on this line. The FDA's goal here isn't to stop you from innovating, it's to draw a clear, predictable line in the sand. That way, you can build amazing things and push boundaries on the wellness side without accidentally stumbling into regulated territory.
And that brings us right back to the beginning. Your tech can be absolutely revolutionary. But in the eyes of the FDA, your marketing matters just as much. Getting that part right isn't just about bureaucracy or jumping through hoops. It's the key that unlocks your product's ability to actually reach the people you designed it to help in the first place.